Today we will study The Tempest as a political romance. You all know that Shakespeare always tried to bring a social issue out through his drama. The Tempest is very important because we can treat this as a political romance. I will read the note and you follow this. I'll try to explain this to you also. Feminism was an important movement in the 17th century England. The 17th century means, somewhere between the 1600s and, generating many attempts by king, clergy, and male writers to suppress women's attempts to create a greater equality. So, this feminism thing has always been very active throughout in England as well as all of the world. During Shakespearean times also we see that feminism was something very important. It was an important movement in the 17th century. Now, the society, is patriarchal. And in a patriarchal society, it was the prime concern of the men, of the clergy, the church, and men in general to suppress the women. All right, so along with the improvements in printing and less expensive books, what happened? The how-to pamphlets, all right, they were printed and they were circulated, informing or teaching men how to best control their wives and daughters. Why is this so? It's so because the Bible apparently was interpreted in a way which served the patriarchal purposes, where Eve was portrayed as the woman who brought downfall on the humankind, right? So Eve was blamed. Now, in Tempest, we see that Miranda is the only female character. All right. And women in those days were treated as commodities. In the play also we see that her presence serves one important purpose: to provide a bride for Ferdinand and to bring the friendship back between the redemption and reconciliation between their fathers, Prospero and Alonso. Now, virginity was given a prime status, since the woman being a virgin did not bring into question the fatherhood of the man, all right, the paternal rights of the man. Therefore, here too, Ferdinand keeps asking Miranda, tell me if you be maid or no. All right, if you be maid or no. If you're not a maid, that is, if you're not a virgin, I cannot marry you even though I love you or whatever. So he asks that question of Miranda. Then we see that Miranda is given very limited information about her mother, and there too Prospero says, thy mother was a piece of virtue and she said you were my daughter. So you see again the paternal rights. Paternity is not in question. The mother was a piece of virtue, and it is expected of Miranda therefore to be a piece of virtue as well. So the virginity of a woman is greatly stressed upon. In 1613, The Tempest was presented to celebrate Prince Elizabeth's coming wedding. All right. And it's kind of a fairy tale where there's a hapless princess and she is rescued by a prince, charming, and they go away to far off lands and they live a life of bliss and happiness, okay, ever after. In this case also, in most of the weddings, in fact, in the Elizabethan period, this theme was played upon. All right. Even the Tempest is one of those plays where the hapless princess is rescued by the Prince Charming, of course by the father's design, okay, Prospero's design, but still. And they, in those days also, we saw that women were married off. They were married off to people, though they did not give consent to that marriage. They themselves, the princes, were never asked, the women were never asked. All right, they were just married off. And in the case of Alonso's daughter Claribel, we see the same thing, because she wasn't very happy to marry the Prince of Tunis. All right, and she was married off there against her own wishes. So you see, the obedience of these princesses to their father, the father and not the mother, the father, that is of prime concern. They have to be obedient all the time. All right. And as I told you again before, also I tell you again that 17th century drama was a safe way to explore the political and social issues of the period. Shakespeare often used social issues as a way to explore the way society functioned, using the stage to present a microcosm that represented the larger macrocosm of the universe. So the stage was a smaller world representing the bigger world. The relationship between the man and the king, it was kind of a smaller world, and it depicted the larger world of the relationship of man and God. So, in focusing on political implications of Miranda's marriage, Shakespeare is offering the audience a chance to consider the alliances that women form and the means by which they are constructed. Right. So, if we discuss this play, The Tempest, as a political romance, all right, a political play, a political romance, there are many, many places, there are many, many instances, many, many examples we can cite from the play itself, which shows the society at large, the societal thoughts at large during the Elizabethan period, all right, in the 17th century. And this kind of, it inspired Shakespeare to use his characters as a mouthpiece, all right, as a mouthpiece to show the nuances of the society at large. So all his plays, and especially this, The Tempest, it clearly brings out the role of women, the role of women in those times, especially the princesses, even in the lower strata, how women were objectified.